Welcome to the Hotelligence Podcast, your strategic vantage point on the changing landscape of hotel safety. Hosted by Jim Kortz, a retired FBI DHS investigator, and Don Carr, a former frontline security owner-operator with years of first-hand incident response experience on hotel properties. Every episode brings you closer to understanding the full picture and what the future may hold. Let's begin.
Welcome to the Hotelligence Podcast. This is Season 3, Episode 3.
On the last episode, we separated two instruments, the do not rent list versus a trespass notice.
Right, Jim. And today we look at the moment either one gets used.
Because a list is policy, but a refusal is an event.
Well said. And it happens at the counter, out loud, handled by a person, in front of anyone who happens to be standing there.
And the moment carries weight that the list never does. So let's talk about how a do not rent list is silent.
Yeah, it sits in the system. It has no voice, no tone, no timing.
Until the person who's on that list walks in the front door.
Yes, and then someone has to say it out loud.
And it's usually not the manager who made the decision.
Right, Jim. It's usually the person behind the desk at 11 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning. Often the most junior employee in the building.
Right. So sit with that arrangement for a second. The decision was made, let's say, months ago by someone else with context in, let's say, daylight with time to think about it. But now the delivery happens by someone else who may not have the context or the seniority with a guest standing 3 feet away right in front of them. So the policy is the properties. The sentence, though, is the agents, is that person's right there at the front desk. And the property is now accountable for both. The list decided what happened, but the person at the counter decides how it happens.
That's very well said, Jim, and I think that's worth repeating. The list decided what happens, but the person at the front desk decides how it happens. I like that. And that moment, well, it has an audience. A ban is private. A refusal is not.
Yeah, there's a line at the desk, right? A family, let's say our family at the elevator or someone at the coffee station.
And as we well know, in every pocket these days, there's a camera.
Yeah, and the ban lived in a system that nobody could see.
But the refusal, again, that happens in a lobby where everybody can see.
Which means the moment does not belong only to the property and the guest.
It belongs to everyone who watched it.
Right.
And this is the part that really changes the stakes, because whatever is said at that counter can be heard, remembered, recorded, and replayed. Not the ban, not the incident behind it, not the record from episode 1. Just that moment in and of itself. 60 seconds of it. An observer who saw none of the history, but now judges that property entirely on the delivery. A calm, brief, professional refusal reads one way, but a flustered or improvised, escalating tone reads completely differently, right? Same list, same name, but that audience, whoever may happen to be standing around, they only ever see the counter version.
Yes, exactly, Don. So the reason given becomes the reason, right? So here's the moment inside the moment.
Let's say, for example, the guest asks why.
And whatever the agent says next becomes the property's official reason.
It's not the reason that's in the file. It's the reason that's about to be spoken out loud in the air.
Right. So that front desk agent with nothing to stand on just improvises. And improvised reasons just kind of wander.
They do indeed. Maybe they say, we're full tonight, or there was an issue before. or management said so, or it's just a policy. Any of those things, right?
Yeah, right. And each one of those reasons can behave differently afterward.
Correct, because a reason that doesn't match the record, it inherently raises questions about the record.
Right. Yeah. And a reason that touches who the guest is rather than what happened raises questions on an entirely different kind. So this is where the first episode of the season kind of comes back. A complete record does something quiet in the moment. It gives the refusal a reason that was written down long before anyone ever has to say it. The agent doesn't have to make anything up. They don't have to invent anything. The property's account already exists in that record. A thin record does the opposite. It sends the agent out there alone, live, unscripted. And whatever they come up with under pressure is now the property's position. So the record was always going to be tested. The counter is where it's tested.
Indeed, Jim. In that moment, it really makes its own record. There's a bit of a wrinkle there because that refusal, it doesn't just test the record, right?
Yeah, it creates a new one.
Creates a new one. And what the guest remembers hearing, what the witness remembered seeing.
And camera footage of the exchange, usually without audio, but you got footage.
Right. And whatever note the agent writes afterward, or in some cases doesn't write afterward.
So now you all of a sudden have two records. The one that's actually behind the ban and the one the refusal produced.
And if we don't say anything else, Jim, I think we say it starts to get very complicated very quickly. And if they tell the same story, the property is in a strong position.
Yes. However, if they tell different stories, the property can't choose which one counts.
Indeed. And that line came up last episode about the trespass files. And it applies here just as realistically. Every refusal generates its own account, held partly by people the property doesn't control. The guest version, the witness's version, the silent footage that shows gestures but no words. The property's best answer to all of them is a written account made close to the moment, consistent with the record that existed before it. Two records made years apart telling one story. That is what a defensible refusal looks like from the outside.
In closing, the list is policy.
That's right, Jim. And the refusal, that's an event.
And the policy was made in daylight with time to think about it.
But that event, well, a lot of times it's under very different circumstances. At night or 2 a.m, out loud, possibly in front of other strangers or witnesses.
Right. And the list holds the reason.
But at the front desk counter, that's where someone has to actually say it.
So somewhere tonight, there's a front desk agent looking up from a screen at a guest waiting for a room key, right?
Right. And the next sentence out of their mouth becomes the property's official position.
That's season 3, episode 3 of the Hotelligence Podcast.
Next time we look at a quieter kind of moment, the stay that keeps extending. Because in most states, somewhere past a certain point, a guest stops being a guest. And most properties never notice the night that happens. And remember, we're in this together.
And together, we make hospitality stronger.
Thank you for joining the Hotelligence Podcast, where experience informs smarter, safer hotel operations and prepares you for what comes next. Stay informed, stay confident, and stay connected. As the conversation evolves, Jim Cords and Don Carr will highlight developments that help hotels strengthen their approach to safety and risk management. See you next episode.